Good morning or afternoon. Good morning or afternoon or evening or whenever it is that you are tuning in to this yoga or to prepare for relaxation. I'm Erin Riley. You can find me on the web at personalday.net. I'm being sponsored for these sessions by the Community Investors, which is a group in Wellesley, Massachusetts that is looking out for the health and well-being of the youth in our town, and also by the Wellesley Recreation Department. So thank you to them. I have here a sheet that belonged to my husband when he was a little boy, and I use it to cover myself when I do final relaxation, which is what we're going to be preparing for today. And it's a Peanuts, Snoopy, Charlie Brown sheet, and the iconic image that I think many of us older people know, and I don't know, is where Charlie Brown comes, maybe this is backwards for you, but Charlie Brown comes to visit Lucy for psychiatric help, and she says, "Learn to relax, 5 cents please." So the whole thing that we're going to be working on this morning is learning to relax, because it's not something that for many people is natural, and for many people it's very unnatural. And so I'm going to hopefully offer you some ways to be able to get into a relaxation. So the way it's going to work is we're going to do a half-hour session of movement and yoga, and then that session will end, and then I'm going to start another live stream that will be just the half an hour of the relaxation, the extended Shavasana. So if you're joining me live, then you're going to have to unfortunately get up in the middle. If you are watching this later, then you can go ahead right now and put into a queue the next session, which is the extended Shavasana, the half-hour-long Shavasana relaxation. So hopefully that will work out. Of course, you can always try just doing one or the other. If you do the relaxation alone, you might find that you do need to do something, either take a walk, or you can use the relaxation for post some activity that you've done, whether it be an athletic kind of thing, or maybe just a bunch of intense meetings, and then you just need to like chill out and get out of your head. So I guess that's what I need to talk about there. So as far as the yoga goes, what we're going to be doing is trying to get some of the agitation out through some movement, and then also I'm going to offer some standing poses and balancing poses, because they tend to be, for most people, something that gets you up out of your head and down into your feet, which is a better place to be when you're too much up in your head. So we'll begin with just some free-form movement. I'm actually going to begin by turning on some music. And you can just start standing comfortably with your feet, whatever distance apart you like, and just let your body be loose. So feel like you're almost just like a skeleton, and just the bones are kind of flattering around. You can just shake yourself out there. And you can either stick with that if that's enough for you, or you can start to get a little bigger movements. Let your end joints, the fingers and the wrists, become loose. And you can get a little crazier, arms overhead and behind you. You can let things go with gravity a little bit, turning over, letting things dangle. Relax your head, let your head move around. And shake your body a little bit. Coming up, and now make sure you do have a nice wide stance if you want to get your head moving a little bit more. And then find a little bit of stillness in your upper body, because we're going to shift to your left foot and shake out your right leg. You can keep the upper body going if that works for you, or you can go to a wall and hold on, so you can loosen things up. Shifting to your right foot, letting your left leg lap around. And then just wiggle it around any way you like. Hopefully no one's judging you. Maybe you're judging how silly I look, but I don't care. And then stop and just observe. If you had any nervous energy pent up inside of you, you might notice that it is shaken out. So that's a quick, easy way to get some of that stuff out of you. And now we'll do a little more standard yoga kind of thing, flowing through a couple of sun salutations. So connecting with your pattern of breathing. When you are emptying your lungs, hands drop down toward your hips. And then as you take your fingers overhead, you're filling up the space you've created. On an exhale, fingertips to the floor. Take your left foot to the back of the mat. Extend your spine long, head away from your heel. On an exhale, slide back to downward dog. Maybe take it with the knees bent a lot. Coming forward to high plank. Take a slightly different variation. Put your knees to the floor. Let your bottom stay high as your chest goes to the floor, making an inchworm. And then you slide through to cobra. Lowering down, rising up as you breathe in. And back to the bent knee downward dog as you breathe out. And bring your left foot up to the front. Again, the long line from your back heel to the crown of your head in the front. And coming up to the front. Fold over, feeling the length in the back of your legs as the primary effect here, not worrying where your fingers get to. In the forward fold. And when you're breathing in, coming up. Hands down the center on your exhale. And then back up. Folding fingertips to the floor. We'll do the same exact thing, just initiating with the right foot going back first. Lunge. Downward dog. Staying with the bent knees. And then let's just let the knees come to the floor right here. Keep the bottom high. Exhale to the inchworm, chest touching the floor. So your knees, your chest, and your chin are on the floor. And then you slide through cobra. Let your lungs fill up with air. As you empty, lower down. And then lift yourself up as you fill up again. Back, downward dog. Now bringing your right foot up to the front. The left side body is long. And then bringing your left foot up to meet the right. Folding into your forward fold. Shake your head out. Notice one of these times when you need to breathe in and rise up while you're doing that. Exhale, coming down the center. And up. Good. So again, you can just notice, pause with your hands at your heart for a moment, and just notice what those couple of sun salutations, just one on each side, have done for you. And maybe that's all you need. And you could, if you're doing this on your own sometime, lie down on the floor now and comfortably drift off into the relaxation. But we're going to add some standing poses now. So fingertips high, exhaling, fingertips low. Left foot to the back of the mat and let your heel come down. Coming up. Warrior 2. Side. Bringing your mind down into your feet. Feeling your feet on the floor. Feeling your front foot pressing forward, your back foot pressing back. Supporting you. And then you'll take your back arm, left arm, bring it forward, pivot onto your back toes, and your kneecap on the left leg faces down toward the floor now for crescent lunge. Breathing here. Again, feeling the whole foot on the right leg, toes in the back leg, connecting to the floor, supporting you. Breathing. Then take your arms around, down to the floor, right leg back, downward dog, and then coming forward to plank. This time we'll do some push-ups, just again to kind of get you out of your head with a challenge. Your legs can be straight, or maybe your knees are coming to the floor, bending your arms, as much as you can. Still make it back up. Breathing here, in as you rise, out as you descend. And then one of these times the descent will take you to the floor. And enjoy again, Cobra. Filling up, pulling your shoulder blades toward each other. And on an exhale, lowering down. Maybe you're coming through a push-up again. If you have anything left in your arms, back to downward dog. And then bring your left foot forward. I'm just going to spin around. You stay where you are. The left foot to the front of the mat. Grounding your heel down in the back. Coming up for warrior two with the left leg in front. Again, bring your awareness down to your feet. Connecting to the ground. Left leg pressing forward. Right foot pressing back. You can mimic that with your arms if you like. Feeling the challenge of the strength in your legs. Challenge of keeping up out of your head. Feeling the floor. And then your right arm, one in the back, will come to the front, pivoting onto your back toes. Right kneecap facing the floor for crescent lunge. Press your left foot into the floor. Feel the ball, the toes of your right foot supporting you in the back. And then circling around, hands to the floor. This time bring your back foot up to the front. Lift your toes, take a nice breath in, and on your exhalation, fold it over. Again, no ambition about where your fingers get, just placing your body in some way that safely stretches the backs of your legs. Release your head. Tuning in again to your breath cycle. Use an inhale to lift you up. And an exhale to take your hands down the center. Again, fingertips rising as your breath comes in. And this time pause with your hands at your heart again. And notice what that attention to the floor has done for you. You might feel your heart beating under your thumbs. Connect with that. So you're staying at the front of your mat. I'm just coming around here. We're going to do a fairly basic balance pose now, just tree pose. So you'll lift up your toes on your left foot, spread them out, shift your weight over to there, find something out in front of you to stare at, and then move your weight into your left foot. Your right foot will go anywhere along the inner left thigh except on your knee, so not here, but anywhere else, calf, ankle, above your knee. Hands can stay at your heart. Let's just keep it simple. And just be here, feeling your foot supporting you. You might be aware of all the little movements that your foot is making to keep you from tipping over. Knowing that your brain is the control center, way up at the top of your head. And it's sending so many messages down to all the little tendons and ligaments and muscles to keep you from tipping over. So pulling things literally down from your head, down into your foot. As those muscles get a little more fatigued, you'll notice more activity. If you've already come out of it, that is fine. You can just stand in mountain pose and feel the connection with 2 feet to the floor. If you're still in the balance pose, you can try letting your eyelids close. Feel the work even more in your foot moving. I've fallen out of it now, landing on 2 feet. So when you close your eyes, you're removing one of the main ways that our brain processes those messages with your vision, orienting you in space. So it becomes much more of a challenge. Let's let the arms relax down for a moment in the classic variation of mountain pose, creating that image of the mountain, slopes of your arms up to the peak of your head. And then you're going to prepare your right foot, shift over, placing your left foot somewhere along the inner leg, not on the knee, and bring those palms to your heart center, touching. You can feel the connection between your hands, laying across your heart and your breath, and then slide your attention down to your foot. Feel all the little things that it's doing. You can't sense the messages going from your brain to your foot, but you can imagine them. Staying with this. And as your muscles get a little more fatigued, you'll notice more activity in your standing foot. And the more you focus on your foot, you might notice that naturally there's less activity up in your head. So anytime that you want a little extra challenge, you can let your eyelids drop down. Feel your foot really working out. Coming out onto 2 feet whenever you would like to, or if you have, without your will, fallen out of it. Again, palms facing forward, classic mountain pose, open chest. Press your feet into the floor, breathe. So this position that you're in right now, standing, is actually the classic Shavasana position, just thrown down onto the floor. So if you imagine the floor rising up behind you, supporting you, this would be the classic Shavasana. A couple more breaths here, imagining that. And now we're going to actually come down to the floor, have a seat. So also another impediment often, for me anyway, to really letting go is tension in my legs. So our leg muscles are so big in our bodies. And when you're sitting a lot, they get very static and short. Or by the same token, if you're active a lot, they get a lot of work and tired. And I find that when I go to relax, they're the last thing to let go. So if we do a little preparation with getting some tension out of our legs, then that can be helpful. So we'll just do, again, a very classic pose, forward fold with legs out in front. If you want to, you can have some kind of cushion or something underneath your knees, give me a little prop, or you can just let your knees be bent, or you can press your legs into the floor. I've done a lot of sessions or a lot of time in this session on beginner's mind yoga on how to safely forward fold. I won't go into that too deeply here, but just make sure that you're not rounding too much in your low back, that you're tipping your pelvis first. So however your legs are going to be, and you're going to find a place for your torso to be so that you get a nice stretch for you in the backs of your legs. Undoing some of that shortness from the bent leg all the time. And then once you feel like you've keyed into the stretch in the backs of your legs, you can bring the stretch up into the back of your body, up into the back of your torso by rounding down. You can let your elbows drop down, pulling your shoulder blades away from your center in the back. And then tuck your chin in. So you get a stretch top to bottom, left to right, all around. Breathing here. It's kind of like your upper body is almost in child's pose. And you can stay completely still or move a little bit, letting your neck move, head side to side. You can drop one shoulder and the other. So hopefully the stillness here is not too unwelcome. Trying to gradually introduce you to the idea of being on your back in stillness for a while. And at some point, when you're breathing in, it doesn't need to be now, it can be several breaths from now, you'll rise up to a seated position. We'll get into the outer hips a little bit, and again, a very simple pose. If you want to do something more complicated, if you're very, very open in your hips, you can try doing double pigeons, stacking one shin over the other. I'm just going to demonstrate just an easy cross-legged position. So your knees and your feet are around near each other. Again, it's not super important, but rather than being, way out like this, or so just kind of around there. And maybe this is enough for you to feel an opening in your hips. Otherwise, you can start to hinge forward again, supporting yourself. Moving to a place where you feel the stretch in your outer hips. And once you get as far as your hips will let you, again, you can take advantage of the rounding that your spine can do. If your head is somewhere near the floor, you can use something to support it, your hands or a block or a stool, a nearby chair. Feel the air filling up your back. Imagine when the air is going out that it's pulling any tension out of your hips. When you are ready, when you're breathing in, rise up. Pausing for a moment here, and then you'll switch legs, whether you're stacking your shins or going to the cross-legged. Most of us will have chosen the more comfortable side initially, because I didn't say which leg should be in front. So this side will probably feel a little uncomfortable or just kind of funny. Just stay with it. You might not go as deeply forward. Maybe you stop a little higher off the floor before you round. Find a place where you can be and breathing. If you supported yourself with your hands, whatever hand was on top, switch. Again, we're always sending messages from our brain down to the various parts of our body. And when you habitually do something in one way, those nerve pathways get very well worn. And then when you switch it to the other side, it feels weird because those nerve pathways are not so trafficked. But the cool thing is if you keep doing it the unusual way for you, eventually it'll feel normal and you won't be able to tell the difference. Which is kind of neat to actually be able to feel the sculpting of your nervous system. Filling up your back with air. Pulling the tension out as you exhale. Sometime on an inhale, come to sitting. Take your hands behind you. Fingertips on the floor, pull your elbows and shoulder blades toward each other, lift your chest. Breathing here with your chin tucked in, gazing forward, and let your head go back, lifting your chest even higher. And then if your head is back, bring your chin back toward your chest. Release your fingertips from the floor and bring your arms around in front, right arm on top for eagle arms, bringing your forearms forward. So we're getting the benefit of eagle in the upper body without worrying about falling over in the balance pose. On an exhale, tuck your elbows and chin in the front. Get the stretch in your back. Pull your elbows down, feeling the opening of the sides of your neck. Move your head in any way that enhances this for you. Keep breathing into your back. And sometimes you're breathing in, coming up, opening your arms out, fill up the front. And now with the left arm on top, taking eagle arms, pulling your forearms forward, shoulder blades down, and then tucking in. Again, if you pull your elbows down toward the floor, you'll feel the stretch along the sides of your neck and top of your shoulders. Another great place to prepare for relaxing. Use some inhale to lift up again. Let's open it out. Take a little twist over to the right, looking over your right shoulder, loosening some tension in your torso, and to the other side. So this has been a really simple practice that we've done now. There are about 5 minutes left in the half hour of the first segment. For people who are only doing this half hour of the relaxation, or the preparation for relaxation, you can just take the tipped over mountain pose that I talked about before and go here to Shavasana. If you're doing this later and you've queued up the extended relaxation next, you can also take your Shavasana pose and then just stay in it and move right into the extended relaxation. However, if you're watching this live and you don't want to be in your relaxation, you have to get up to start the next live stream, I'm recommending, and of course anyone can do this, I'm recommending you spend the last time here with legs up the wall. So the way you're going to do that, you're going to come to your mat at the wall, somewhere there's a little bit of empty wall space, and I'm showing this. This would be about the width of a regular yoga mat. You'll come to the edge, put your hip right next to the mat, right on the edge of the mat, and your shoulder also right on the edge of the mat. So it's like you're going to take a nap on the edge of your mat with your sit bones as close to the wall as you can get them. That way when you roll over onto your back, you're in the middle of your mat and your legs are close to the wall. Once you get there, if when you take your arms into a I surrender kind of place, if your arms and your hands rest comfortably on the floor, you can stay there. If your forearms are kind of up in the air, then just let your arms go down by your side. But you get a little extra chest opening if your hands are up. And you also get that feeling of I surrender. I'm surrendering to gravity. You know, our eyelids to cover your eyes, maybe an eye pillow over your eyelids. If you feel cold at all, you can cover yourself. Now your back of your head and the back of your torso are resting on the floor if you're in legs up the wall. Your whole body resting on the floor if you're in Shavasana. But even if your legs are up the wall, you'll still feel your legs in contact with the wall. So sense whatever it is that is supporting you. Feel it lifting up to meet your back. Feel your body surrendering down into it. In the same way that before in our standing poses, I was inviting you to really focus on your feet. Part of you that was in contact with the ground, grounding you, bringing you out of your head. Now you can focus on the parts of your body that are touching the floor. And even though one of those parts is your head, don't let the focus be on the activity inside your brain, but rather just the physical head, the heavy weight that you're releasing onto the floor as you relax your neck muscles. legs are up the wall, it might be a little easier to release and relax them. Feeling the fluids inside them moving down, also surrendering to gravity. As you lie here for a little bit longer, just focus on your chest lifting and falling with the natural rhythm of your breath. Again, being aware that your brain, up in your head, is dictating the movement of your breath. Sensing the need to inhale, bringing in fresh air. You need to empty out the waste products of respiration. So you can imagine coming down out of your head with those signals down to your lungs, your chest. Imagining that that's all your brain has to do right now, is make you breathe and beat your heart. So you will stay as you are if you're just doing this. If you are moving on during the live stream to the extended Shavasana, you'll come up and switch over. Thank you for being here.